the color blue, the way you be cluing. Stay awake, not woke, I'm tuned in. Your point of view too far, you need to zoom in. Ain't got no facts, you assuming. About the color blue, the way you be cluing. Have we had enough of your lies for one night? Have we felt enough of our pain to know it's real? How do you feel? Sick and tired of the lies, all I'm feeling is the pain. It's the devil in disguise while I'm standing in the rain. Water pouring from the sky, but you tell me the opposite. Like I don't have a consciousness, like I'm stuck in the matrix and my brain's up for the taking. But we don't do that, I know my facts. They say that he was elected, but where the stats at? They say that jab the only way to get your life back. But if you have a heart attack, then they will go to hide that. Look at the FDA, acting like KKK, trying to run all our lives like we they brand new slaves. Lose the job, bent from playing segregation, all the same. They call themselves progressives, but they taking us all back again. Bring the world to darkness and sacrifice the children then. When it's said and done, then you will never live with hope again. I say that we break the chains, we can't leave the world the same. Make love real again. As we fly above the truth, I ask of God, am I with you? I walk the path, go to the light, but still I feel that. Yeah. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages, from all races, creeds, sexualities, genders, whatever you name it. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Crump Live here on YouTube, Rumble, Gitter, Facebook, Twitch, a few other places. Happy to be live with you guys here. Happy to be here with our Australian Dare Daddy. Says good morning, Crump crew from Australia. All of other people who are tuning in from all over the world. This is Crump Live, our show on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 on all those platforms that I just mentioned. We're live here, as we often do, to cover the news and just all sorts of madness happening. Half of it I've already covered with YouTube Shorts and little TikToks, but this is these stories are big. And also some of the stuff that came out from Joe Biden today. He's always on some just straight up madness. So you're going to want to tune into this. Make sure you guys smash that like button on the way into the show today. Shout out to my folks who are tuning in. Texas to love over on Gitter. My folks over on Rumble as well. We've got just quite the show for you guys. Let me tell you, it's a good one. Truth Social was banned from the Google Play App Store before it was even able to be posted up. It's just craziness. And then also just Joe Biden just, oh man. There was a place where I was the only white guy that worked as a lifeguard down in that area.
And you ain't black.
He's telling some funny stories. We're going to be tuning into that and a whole lot more. So let's just freaking get started now, shall we? This stuff, it can't write itself. Trump's Truth Social has been banned from the Google Play App Store over content moderation. Oh man, you can't escape it. Content moderation concerns are holding up the approval of a former President Trump's Truth Social app on Android devices, said a Google spokesperson. Truth Social CEO Devin Nunes claimed last week that the Android version of the app was ready and waiting on Google's approval. However, a Google spokesperson said in a statement that the platform lacks the effective content moderation needed to meet the Google Play App Store's terms of service. On August 19th, we notified Truth Social of several violations of standard policies in their current app submission and reiterated that having effective systems for moderating content is a condition of our terms of service for any app to go live on Google Play. Axios first reported on Google's holdup of the app. In particular, Google is concerned about violations of its policies prohibiting content with physical threats and incitements of violence. The Google person added that the social media company acknowledged the feedback and is working on addressing the issue. Of course, that's what you have to get told, but what's actually going to happen, we'll have to see. Nunes, a former Republican House rep from California, made the comments about waiting for Google's approval during an appearance on Real America's Voice. When are we going to be available on Android, Nunes said? Well, look, that's up to the Google Play Store. I mean, we're waiting on them to approve us, and I don't know what's taking so long. Trump created Truth Social after he was banned from Twitter on January 6th. This is some straight up madness. So the platform that many have been waiting for and many have been wondering why it isn't already there, well, here's your reason. Google and the regime overlords don't want to allow it on the platform, and for whatever reason they deem important, it so far is not up there. Content moderation, whatever they pull out of their cheeks to determine as to the reason why it can't be up there, it's very clear that they do not want Trump They do not want anybody else, including myself, who is on Truth Social, able to speak their mind in a way that is not going to be snapped away. They want to control the narrative. Google used to run a social media platform called Google+, and I'm sure if it existed today, they'd do their fair share of censorship and whatever else may be important to them, as they do now with other platforms like Twitter, Facebook, you name it, they do it. So Google, thankfully, is outside of the content moderation scheme, although they do their own little branch of it when it comes to searching for something on Google. You'll be hard-pressed to find pictures of Joe Biden cramping up on kids, or any pictures of Hunter Biden's laptop or the images that came from it. In fact, let's just look up Hunter Biden laptop right now and see what images we can actually find, because all you'll see is just good old pictures of Hunter Biden in his natural public habitat. And the worst you'll get is maybe this picture of a book called Laptop from Hell, which I'm sure sooner they see about it, the sooner they'll be willing to get something out. The only thing we even got from this is this innocuous photo of him just wearing some sort of dog tag with no shirt on. That's not even any bad, and I'm sure some random Democrat ladies would be like, oh, he's so dreamy, or something like that, talking about Hunter Biden. But meanwhile, if you go to, say, maybe DuckDuckGo or something, and then use DuckDuckGo search, look up Hunter Biden laptop, you're not going to see as rosy of an image, because you're actually going to, well, I would say you would get something, okay, there's something a little better. You'll see images with him, his cracked up teeth, bloodshot eyes, some of the, cigarettes in the bathtub, all sorts of the things that we would be considering the truth, like maybe the crackpot in his mouth. But unfortunately, Google search does not yield you the same images, at least not within the first page, and if we keep scrolling for even another minute, we're seeing more pictures of Rudy Giuliani than images of Hunter Biden in any compromising stance, because they just don't want to let that fly. They don't want anybody to see that but them, so that they can know what they should not allow anybody to see. And that's the type of madness we're going to have to endure until we take some sort of stance, take some power back, and get off of these platforms. Base Chica says they need to just post an APK on their website. Very good of you to mention that. I actually cut that from my video talking about it because I didn't know how many people would understand it, but Android does actually allow you to sideload an app using the direct app file called an APK. I think that stands for application package, which you can do. You cannot do that on iOS. So that's why the iOS App Store, you really need to get on it or you're not going to have an app at all. But for Android, it is possible, and I feel like, hold on, Truth Social APK, I wouldn't be surprised if it's out there. Well, there's something that says the Truth Social APK. I don't know if it's the actual thing or not. It might just be some random person's thing they put together, but that is a way around it. Google has allowed Android to be a little bit more open, but it's still not the easiest thing. People just want to download it off the Google Play Store or whatever other app store they use on their Android phone. They don't want to have to go through sideloading or APKing it. Apparently I've got some really smart viewers. Shout out to y'all. Thick Chris McFist checking in. Dare Dad. Y'all knowing what sideloading is really making me feel very good. Like, I didn't think you guys were idiots or anything. I'm not saying that, but it takes somebody rather technologically literate to know how to do that and to know about that period. So word up to you guys. Let me get a round of applause. That's very good for y'all. That's very, very good. Speaking of somebody that definitely does not know anything about what sideloading is, and I'd be surprised if they even own a phone or know how to use it rather than just the glasses on. Tina, how do I do it? That'd be Joe Biden, of course.
And you ain't black.
Rub my leg down.
Go, you know the thing.
Yeah, so he's back on his grind, and also we've got some news that kind of relates to this. He actually filed to run for president in 2024 with the FEC. The FEC just days ago, or was it today? Like in the last couple of days, he actually filed to run seriously in 2024. You cannot make this stuff up, guys. He is actually filed to run for president again in the next election cycle, in which he will be, I believe, 83 on election day. We're going to do the math again. Joe Biden age right now, he is 79. On November 20th, 1942 is when he was born. So he will be days away from turning 83 or so. Is it 83 or 82? Joe Biden age in 2024. Let's see if it'll figure that out. So it says about 82. So he'll be days away from turning 82 or 83. I don't know if this is telling us like about when he's about 82. Let's see if it'll even delineate that far down in November 2024. It doesn't, whatever. But still, if he turns 80 this year. Okay, so yeah, he'll be turning 82 in 2024 then. But still, he will be days away from turning 82. And this guy's, okay, anyways. So he's back on his dog face, pony soldier, corn pop is a crusty Whoa, crusty dude, y'all are. Shout out to y'all in the building. But yeah, he's back on that right now. So he had one of his Safe America rallies. I'm just reading off the signs. You know, Trump has Save America, so Joe Biden obviously cannot have a unique idea. So it's Safe America or Safer America rallies. But he's back on his madness, and he's telling some bizarre stories. I haven't watched these specifically so that I could give you guys my raw reaction to these, because this is about to be so funny. There's a place where I was the only white guy that worked as a lifeguard down in that area on the east side, and you know, you can always tell where the best basketball in the state is.
What are we talking about?
What? What are you saying, Joe? Because that sounds like it could be a stereotype, and you cannot do stereotyping in 2022. You cannot do stereotyping in 2022. You can't do that. Let's watch this.
If I can just interject for a moment, my deceased son, Bo, he was the Attorney General of the state of Delaware. And what he used to do is go down on the east side, what called the Bucket, highest crime rate in the country. There's a place where I was the only white guy that worked as a lifeguard down in that area, on the east side. And you know you can always tell where the best basketball in the state is and the best basketball in the city is. It's where everybody shows up.
Huh. Now, if Joe Biden had an R next to his name and ran under the
Ultra MAGA
stance, well, he probably already would have had a couple of FBI, open up! By now. You know better than I do. But oh man, he would be canceled. He'd be trending on Twitter right now for racism. It would already happen. There would already be primary challengers like, I am going to unseat Joe Biden for his racist stances and these terrible things he's saying. You cannot talk about the east side of the city with the highest crime rate and you being the only white lifeguard there saying this area of the city, obviously they have good basketball players. What?
Ultra MAGA.
What? You can't say that, Joe. What? Once again.
What are we talking about?
You can't. But because he's got a D next to his name, he wears a nice blue suit with all these blue signs, and he's talking about a safer America. I guess he just gets to get away with anything. Yes. I guess we just let him. That's the madness. So let's see what some of the comments are saying. Oh my. Oh my gosh. I hate Right to Bear Me. He destroys my show every single time. Every single time. Oh my gosh. I can't do it. It's Joe Biden. I can't even explain it. For our listeners, our blind viewers here. It's Joe Biden holding a It's hard to explain. I think it's from Family Guy or something like that. But it's like a palette, like a color palette thing. And it has white, and then like a kind of tanner white, and then a very tan white. And then sort of like a light skin brown, and then like extremely dark skin. And it says trash, and then at a certain point in the middle of it, where the skin tones, it says ballers. It's Joe Biden holding that. And then in the background, it's dudes playing basketball. Or I guess as Joe Biden would say, where they show up, where the crime rate was very high, where I was the only white lifeguard. Yeah, this is the type of stuff that we're not supposed to allow. I thought we're supposed to cancel politicians for this, right? I don't know. Their dad says no one shows up to Biden rallies, so he is the basketball team no one wants to watch. Gail says this was the best and brightest presidential candidate the DNC could find. I used to talk about this so much back in because I've been involved in politics since 2018, so I'm a veteran at this point. I mean, in comparison to a lot of the people that actually currently sit in elected office. But back in 2019, when we had the primaries for the presidency back then, I saw Joe Biden and I was like, this guy has the lowest quality. Like, Elizabeth Warren, she's a woman, she's high up here. Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, like all these different people I would have ranked above Joe Biden. I still thought Joe Biden had a pretty okay shot and he had a lot of name recognition and clout. But this dude was old. This dude was destroyed multiple times during the debates and sounded like he had no idea what he was talking about.
So you know the thing.
And that's the guy that they wanted to win the primaries? No way. It's not going to happen. Boy, was I wrong.
Yep.
I just...
FBI, open up!
What? Ain't no way. that Joe Biden won the Democratic primary. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I sat there and I said, there's no way that Joe Biden wins against Trump.
Nope.
I was about to say, boy, was I wrong, but was I really? Was I wrong? Come on, God. Was I wrong? Okay, anyways. We're gonna leave the election stuff behind. We're gonna move on to the next Joe Biden thing, because, oh man, he just didn't stop. I didn't even want to finish reading the tweet. I just saw, you know what, the Mexicans. I was like, oh, I've got to put this on the list. We'll read it later. So he says, you know what, the Mexico, which has real problems, causing us real problems. Talk about redundancy. You know what their biggest complaint is? Can't we stop the gun trafficking across the southern border into Mexico? Joe, you're kind of sounding a little based right now, Joe.
Yep.
Aren't you supposed to not agree with this?
What are we talking about?
Isn't this supposed to be xenophobic? Wait, you're pulling my you're doing a Trump act, aren't you?
Billions.
You're pretending to be Trump now, aren't you? Because this sounds a whole lot like what Trump was saying back in 2015 and 16. You guys remember the clip that everybody called him racist for, where he said, when you look at Mexico and the illegal immigration, they're not sending their best. The drugs, the disgusting actions, MS-13, the crime, the criminals. Everybody was like, Trump, you called the Mexicans racist. You can't do that. And even for a little while, back when I was, how old was I? Yeah, 11. When that was a big thing, I was sitting there like, wow, Trump, I didn't think you could say something like that. That's really racist to say. And of course, after a little bit of time, I did some research like, oh, this is what he's talking about. Oh, it's true. And that was 11-year-old me. But now I'm looking at it like, wait, so you can say that? Joe Biden can talk about the problems we have with our border with Mexico and how we should promote border security? I didn't know. I thought it was evil. I thought it was racist. I thought it was wrong. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth himself.
Keep guns out. You know what the Mexicans are? Mexico, which has real problems, causing us real problems. You know what their biggest complaint is?
What?
Can't we stop gun trafficking across the southern border into Mexico?
He sounds a whole lot like one of them daggum
MAGA.
Am I right? Or am I? Come on, guys. I've gotta be real here. We're gonna run a poll. We're going to run a poll. I'm gonna run a poll on YouTube, Rumble, Getter, wherever you're watching from. Hit me in the comments. Give me a 1 if Joe Biden is sounding a little too based for his own good right now. Let me know if he's sounding a little bit like one of those daggum racist,
MAGA,
ultra dark MAGAs, as Thick Chris is saying. Hit me with a 1 or hit me with a 2 if this is what Joe Biden has been saying since the beginning, and he's just being a good old classic moderate Democrat as he tries to portray himself as. Give me a 2 if you think this is the blue MAGA we've been hearing about. This is totally normal for Joe, because I don't know about y'all, but this is sounding a whole lot like he's one of them daggum.
I'm a mask rebel. No, I will not wear your muzzle.
Because I feel like next thing you know, he's gonna talk about the face diapers and how much we shouldn't be wearing them. he's 1 second away from becoming one of these. He's 1 second away. If he wants to be a rebel, let me know, because I got some shirts for you, Joe. I really do. Look at that. The chat is filled with ones. You got something to tell us, Joe? Are you about to switch parties? Because, I mean, I probably still wouldn't vote for you. You have one of the most dastardly histories of a politician in American history. But if you had an R next to your name, maybe I could support you running for... Yeah, I wouldn't support him for running for mayor of my local city, much less president of the United States. Send him to a home. Really, he needs some rest. He could use some chocolate chip ice cream, or maybe once his teeth start decaying like his son's, some pudding. But come on, guys, really? Come on. Everybody knows that he is not supposed to be able to say these things. He cannot. Everybody hit it with a 1. Derek, Roxanne, AO26, Thick Wrist. Ann says he can't complete a sentence. Oh, come on.
Oh, you know the thing.
You know the thing. Happy Camper over on Gooder says 11111. Also says almost Mr. Show Chandler. Well, good thing you didn't, Happy Camper. We're so happy to have you camping here on the show with us. We have any people over on Rumble? Yeah, Rono Rathmore says 1. It's true. It's true. This is not in Joe Biden's lexicon. He's not supposed to be able to say these things, but he kept on going. He doubled down, because the next thing he had to say was about the police. And oh, folks, let me tell you, when Joe Biden starts talking about the police, it's a coin flip. You don't know if he's going to say something stupid or something very, very smart. We're going to hear what Joe Biden had to say about the police and so much more after these brief messages from our sponsor. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey, freethinkers. Chandler here, and Man, I'm sure your day-to-day life leaves you just as, if not more tired than me. So why not elevate your night's sleep? Pillows, blankets, sheets, mattresses. As you can hear by me droning on in the background, the list of my pillow products is long and varied, and sometimes, dare I say, ridiculous. But it all goes towards an amazing cause, all the while giving you the best night's sleep in the whole wide world. Go to mypillow.com and use code CRUMP, that is code CRUMP, for your very own discount today. Now, let's get back to the show.
Yep, you heard it all in the ad, so I won't go on too much longer, but make sure you check out coffee, flags, art, bungee cords, some sort of bleed stopping coagulant or something like that, energy drink mix. It's all available. Use code CRUMP, support the show, support Mike Lindell, support My Pillow, all of it over on my store or mypillow.com. Once again, that is code CRUMP, code CRUMP. Terry says he'll say anything for votes. I agree. He'll do anything for votes. He's given all the Gen Zers and millennials that decided to make some bad choices and go into college student loan debt because they were told that was the only option to get anywhere in life. He's given them money. This should be wrong. And for all the people that did pay off their student loan debt and decided to take care of themselves or work even harder for their children that went on to get student loan debt, well, he's hiring 87,000 new IRS agents to make sure you get audited the hell out of. So you have no dimes left to pay for your kid's student loan debt or anything like that, whatever else you want to spend your money on. We heard about the video from the guy who was talking to Elizabeth Warren and was basically saying, I worked my life off, I worked my hair away until I was bald and with gray hair with what I had left to pay off my daughter's student loan debt that she chose to get. And, he probably influenced her to do that. But either way, he worked his butt off to do it. Meanwhile, he had friends that went off and had vacations and sports cars and all that. And he's just supposed to sit there and take that? No, he's going to ask for his money back. But no, Elizabeth Warren will laugh in his face like this and say, no, that's not going to happen. And what's actually going to happen is the IRS is going to pull up and be like, FBI, open up! Pull up at your house, knock open the door, rummage through your cabinets, rummage through your drawers, walk up in your safe, take whatever you've got, run away while you've got a blood clot. I don't know, something that rhymes. That was a little deeper than I expected it to be, but still. They're going to do all this madness to you with this IRS money, these billions of dollars that is sent to the IRS, and the billions of dollars sent to Ukraine. It's all sorts of madness. But hey, at least Joe Biden is talking about saying defund the police is wrong. That certainly makes up for all of 2020, doesn't it? When they burned down Wendy's, threatened people's lives, unfortunately killed people like David Dorn, all for racial justice. All in the memory of George Floyd, who was such a saint, right? Or Rayshard Brooks, who running at police, or Breonna Taylor, who was a victim of a pretty bad thing, but still wasn't a perfect person either. All these saints that are really sinners. I don't know. Biden says when it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police. Apparently. Somebody tell Kamala Harris, because I don't think she knows.
When it comes to public safety in this nation, the answer is not defund the police, it's fund the police. Fund the police.
I want to know how many people, how many idiots sitting in this audience right here. I'll move my camera over because it's a good amount of people. When the president's pulling up, well, then it's important to be there. Of course, they weren't willing to be there during the middle of a pandemic, so all they could do is show up in cars or in little press circles. But I wonder how many of these people that are now clapping were just about a year and a half ago saying, defund the police, stand for George Floyd, ACAB and all this and all that are now turning around when it's popular and acceptable to be like, well, yeah, now it's time we fund the police. That's what we need to do. I don't know why Trump and the Ultra MAGA are saying defund the FBI. They're the enemies of the people. It's hypocrisy. It is straight up hypocrisy, and they know it too. They know it. They just don't care. They like lying to our faces, and we're just gonna have to live with that. That's just the way things are. Things will never be the same. It's laughable stuff. It really is. Monique's is pandering as usual. 826 says JB has MAGA balls. It's crazy. Daredad says taxes up, cost of living up, gas up. Looks like things are looking up for Biden. Yeah, Trevor Noah made that joke, which is hilarious. You know, things are really looking up. Rent is up, gas is up, inflation is up, everything is up. The only thing that's not looking up is Joe. In all honesty, things are looking up with him, supposedly, but we're not actually getting anywhere. You know, I think with all this throwbacks and all these people, including Joe Biden, who are really going back in time to 2019, although not as good of an economy we did. But, man, I think it's time we bring back Corn Pop.
You know who it is. It's your boy Corn Pop in the house. P.O.P., baby, hold it down. So everybody want to know, am I the whistleblower? Well, what it is. So I'm going to let y'all know how it all went down. And don't get it twisted. I'm not no snitch, but I did blow that whistle. So Biden called me on the celly while I was at community service. So the sucker got me in trouble. He talking about, I need your help, Corn Pop. I said, you need my help? Sucker, you cut my Corn Pop supply. I ain't helping you, sucker. Get off my phone. He said, nah, I really need you, man. I can get you a boatload of Corn Pops. So I said, all right, I'm listening. He said, well, my son is in trouble in the Ukraine, and I need you to go over there and help him out. I said, the Ukraine? I said, sucker, I'm not going out of space.
You gotta love Terrence. You gotta love Terrence Williams.
You think I'm about to go out of space for you? Nah, sucker. He don't get that real. He said, nah, Corn Pop, man, it's in another country. It's in the Ukraine. It's just a different country. I said, man, I can't even go see my baby mama in Utah. So you think I'm about to go to the Ukraine? They won't let me go. My ankle monitor won't even go. Sucker, you trying to play me for a fool. You trying to set me up. He said, nah, man, I really need your help. So I get to the Ukraine. He said my Corn Pops will be there when I get there.
Oh,
so
word?
I got there, and I was going to help him intimidate the foreign leader over there. My Corn Pops wasn't even there when I got there.
Oh,
so
man.
I said, I'm finna bounce, sucker. They didn't even sell Corn Pops in the Ukraine. So, you dang right I called. People want to call me a snitch. I'm not no snitch. He the one snitched on me, calling me a bad dude.
Called him a bad dude.
Sucker, you didn't have my Corn Pops. So I sold you out, sucker. I hope you go to jail.
Guys, I think I'm with Corn Pop. We need to send this man
And you ain't black.
to jail. I think it's a long overdue. It's long overdue. That's a good old throwback to the good old days when we weren't so worried about high gas prices and all the things that you've seen so many times. Just all sorts of madness. I mean, half the stuff on my shirts wasn't even a thing. We didn't have to worry about vaccines, gas prices. We didn't have to worry about any of this. But now we have to think about Fauci and what he did to those dang puppies. We have to think about the gas prices, all of that. We have to think about the fact that Biden has some inappropriate ideas about young people. All of that and more available over on the merch store. The link is in the description. I'll also throw it in the chat for you guys. Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he did roll with some bad boys. And when you're rolling with your bad boys, you want to make sure you're repping a brand that believes in your right to freedom and agrees with you that Corn Pop is a bad dude. So make sure you represent for these gas prices. Make sure you represent for BLM, Biden loves minors. And you stand up for those puppies. You stand up for those beagles. Because the truth of the matter is that he's a killer. Look at that. Look at that. You can't find that anywhere else. So make sure you go to chandlercrump.com and hit apparel, or also check in the description or in the chat to support our show and get yourself some really cool merch, including what I'm wearing today over on our merch store. It's some good stuff. It really is. Shout out to our current Hall of Heroes as well. All of our folks financially supporting the show directly with a donation. I really appreciate each and every one of them. If you would like to support the show, all those options are available in the description. Send a message or anything like that. I don't get the chance to read every single chat message, but if you have a question or you really want to tell me something, all those options are available down there. They're also available over on Cash App right here, and you will also join the Hall of Heroes above us. I appreciate each and every person that does that. You support the show, and I cannot speak about how much I really appreciate that. So shout out to all of them, and to my folks who are watching us over on Rumble and Getter. Happy Camper holding it down in the chat over there. Also Rainbow, Texas to Love, all my folks over there. Appreciate all y'all. Oh, Oakley NZ. I think that stands for New Zealand. Do we have a new Oakley NZ? If you're on Getter still, let me know. Are you over there in New Zealand? Because I know we have some folks in Australia. We have Australia Day, and we have Dare Dad. I think we've got Dare Dad in the building today. Yeah, Lock Her Up is now a Democratic theme. Shout out to Dare Dad in the building, but I think we've got a New Zealander too. What is it? What's the New Zealander called? That's called a Kiwi, right? We've got Aussies for Australian people and Kiwis for New Zealanders, right? That's what it is, right? Let me know. Let me know. Daredad says hi to our New Zealander. Oakley, let me know if you're over there in New Zealand. I'd really like to know that. I like knowing. I know we have some folks in London. I know we have a couple of Canadians. I know we have somebody in Hawaii. Somebody said Slovenia just now, which is that true? Because that's crazy. Skycrow says Kiwis are New Zealanders that work in China. Oh, interesting. Is that true? Or are you just saying that? And Alan says he's from Slovenia with love capitalized, which is nice. I appreciate that. Let me know. Are you from Slovenia, or is that like your heritage? That'd be really cool. I like having global connections. It's always really nice. Anyways, we've got some articles that were written about Biden's speech here, but he's got an interesting warning for brave right-wing Americans, aka the
MAGA.
that are very, very interesting. He says, if you want to fight against the country, you'll need an F-15 instead of an AR-15. Joe, let's just read this. Go Roll says, Chandler, I'm currently locked up in China. Send help. Says he's locked up. They won't let him out. Locked up. Okay. Speaking from Pennsylvania on Tuesday, President Biden issued a message for brave right-wing Americans, saying that they need something a little more than a gun to fight against the United States, giving the example of an F-15 fighter jet as something instead. And let's just hear this.
And for those brave right-wing Americans who say it's all about keeping America's independent and safe, if you want to fight against the country, you need an F-15. You need something a little more than a gun.
Notice how it's just like dead silence after that. People don't know when to clap or not. That's so weird. Biden issued a comment during a speech he gave in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, regarding his Safer America plan to reduce gun crimes nationwide. Announced earlier this month, the Safer American plan looks to fund police departments, invest in services that address the causes of crime and reduce the burdens of police so they can focus on violent crime, and calls on Congress to pass additional gun restrictions. The plan looks to hire 100,000 officers, calling on Congress to appropriate $10 billion in funding over 5 years for the cops hiring program. The plan also looks to crack down on crime spreading across the nation, including harsher sentences for those who have fentanyl and on organized retail theft. The Safer American plan looks to strengthen background checks across through the federal gun program check system, ban assault weapons and high-capacity mags, and ban the manufacturing, selling, or possession of ghost guns. In Biden's speech, he stressed that the Second Amendment is not unlimited and that there are weapons that are not allowed to be possessed in America today. Unfortunately, the Second Amendment is unlimited, but whatever. You would think if it was limited, it would be within the amendment itself. The rights granted by the Second Amendment are not unlimited. They're not unlimited. Right now, you can't go out and buy an automatic weapon or buy a cannon. That last part actually is not true. You can totally buy a cannon, and with the right pieces and parts, you can literally make it work. Now, I don't know who feasibly wants to go out and buy a cannon, but you can. And a lot of people also say you can't buy a tank. You can. You can go out and buy a tank. Now, a lot of the times it's been disassembled in certain ways. Some of the weapons don't work, but you know what you're doing. You can buy a tank. I don't understand why these ignorant people are always like, well, you can't actually buy weapons of war. You can. It's expensive as heck, especially in this economy. It's going to be dang expensive, but it's possible. It really is possible. So that's the lies that they always tell you. Automatic weapons are an unfortunate casualty of how things work these days, but still. Soulfax says, Norway, do we have a lot more international people than we thought? Because people are repping all these places. Oakley says no, he's not in New Zealand. Either way, that's still really cool with the NZ in your name, and I know we have people nearby to New Zealand. Sorry for the misattribution, but still, that's some cool stuff. Norway, somebody Slovenia, that's always really cool. I know laws are so different in other countries, so I know here in America, we have a lot more gun rights than, say, probably Norway or Slovenia, although I don't know too much about Slovenia, but I know I sound so privileged talking about our right to even have a gun, in comparison to some countries that don't, but still, it won't be long, folks. I tell you, if you're sitting in Norway or Slovenia and you're like, well, dang, at least you can have a gun, give it some time. If we give these people power, they will take everything from us. Every last right until there's nothing left except the right to beg. Except the right to beg, so that they can laugh in our face and send us back to the breadline. Either way, all sorts of madness. Thick says, and you could totally buy a machine gun. He's stupid. Is that one true? I don't think it's true. I know there was an automatic weapons ban. I think you might be able to buy like a semi-automatic like machine gun, but still, And I think the definition of machine gun is like an automatic weapon. These are all things that I'm never going to admit myself to be a gun expert. I'll definitely be an enthusiast, and I'll, invest in all that. But still, that's a thing. Alan says no gun in EU or in Slovenia. That's just terrible. It really is terrible. Golov says yes, you can with Class 3. Is that about machine guns and like actual automatic weapons? Is that true? Some of my gun nuts, let me know in the chat. I'll research this all myself later on, but still. Skycrow says the ban was that they can't make new ones. You can still buy ones that were already made. I do remember that. Like new ones. So you can like buy one from way back in the day, and you get it to work. It works. Goldolf says you need to surrender your rights to privacy. However, if I am not mistaken. Oh really? Do they have to add you to a list? Thickrus is saying look up Form 4. You know what? We've got a little bit of time today, so I will. Form 4 automatic weapon. I'm just so curious. What is an ATF Form 4? And I'm Googling it. You know what? We're going to go the extra mile just to make sure we're not getting any stupid information. We're going to DuckDuckGo it. I should already be, by default, DuckDuckGoing things, but still. It's taking us to a thing. The ATF Form 4 is used to transfer an NFA firearm to a non-FFL or trust. ATF's Form 4 is an application for tax-paid transfer and registration of a firearm. It is used whenever you are buying an NFA firearm that already exists, not making one. It's typically submitted for a transfer. I don't really want to dig all the way into. Let's do atf.gov. It's going to send me to some. I don't want to go all the way into that, but I think it's corroborating what you guys are saying is that if one already existed before the ban, whenever that happened, like in the 80s or whenever that happened, I think it was the 60s, whenever the automatic weapon manufacturing ban was placed. But if you get a weapon before then and you fill out your form, and I guess as Goldwolf said, maybe submit yourself to that list, then you can. So I guess even to that extent, Joe Biden isn't 100% correct. You guys will go out of your way to prove the president wrong, which I love. Just round of applause for y'all. Thank you for giving me some of the information here. Daredad says can get guns here in Australia. Really? Really? I thought there was like some sort of major ban in Australia. They always tout this, the reason why there's no more mass shootings in Australia or whatever. Skycross says the automatic ban was in the 90s, I thought. You can get Tommy guns from the 80s. Very interesting. Yeah, y'all let me know. Y'all are appearing to know a whole lot about this, so shout out to y'all. Anyways, we've got some more bans to talk about, but these bans are, in my opinion, some really good ones. And I'm not one to always advocate for the revocation of rights, but in my opinion, this is not bad. This is actually helping return rights to the unborn. To literally anybody. The thing about, the unborn, we don't know a whole lot about them before they come out. We don't know what their race is going to be. Sometimes there's a mix and they could be any tone, whatever. You can't really discriminate against an unborn until you know more about it, and that comes later on. But still, it's across the board when people stand up for the unborn and have a pro-life ideology. Now, when it comes to pro-choice, it's not so great because they're putting abortion clinics in more low-income neighborhoods, or as Joe Biden would say, where there's more people at basketball courts. Disgusting, but all sorts of stuff like that. They can systemically embrace abortion on certain groups, like they did, like was outlined in the Planned Parenthood Manifesto. The weeds of society, as Margaret Sanger directly said in letters. Disgusting stuff. You can look all that up. That's something I know a whole lot about. I may not know everything about the dang guns, but I know what they did with abortion. South Carolina House has now approved an abortion ban with some exceptions. We're going to talk about this and then some of the stuff that people have been saying about it that are kind of making some divisions, which is interesting. The South Carolina House on Tuesday approved a bill that outlaws abortion except in the cases of pregnancies caused by assault or incest. The chamber initially rejected the bill without the exceptions by 8 votes, but once Republicans saw the outcome, they quickly went through a number of complex procedures and votes to bring the bill back from the brink of failure. The exceptions were added by enough lawmakers shouting aye, and the bill passed by a vote of 67 to 38. The bill has one more routine vote before it goes to the Senate, where stricter bans on abortions have seen tougher fights. The dizzying parliamentary maneuvers happened after Democrats joined with the chamber's most conservative members to try to keep the bill as restrictive as possible. Many Republicans accused Democrats of playing politics as they joined conservatives to also vote down an amendment supporters said would allow abortions for women carrying fetuses with problems, leaving them unlikely to be born alive. The ladies of South Carolina, they are gambling with your body, said Republican Representative Mitchakaski. Democrats said they didn't want to debate abortion again after the assembly agreed to a 6-week ban in 2021, but Republicans decided to call a special session after Roe v. Wade was overturned. It's not our bill. We're not the ones trying to control their bodies, said a Democratic rep. Republicans, who have nearly twice as many members as Democrats, took an hour break just before the vote to get their most conservative members to agree to the exceptions. The bill allows abortions up to 12 weeks after conception if a woman tells the doctor she was assaulted. The doctor has to tell the woman he is going to report the assault to the county sheriff and has 24 hours after the procedure to give deputies the woman's name and contact information. Other changes voted down in the debate included language supporters said would protect in vitro fertilization and birth control, and a proposal that would allow prosecutors to charge a woman who gets an abortion with murder. So obviously, a lot of stuff coming through with this. Some of these exceptions make a lot more people happy, but some people on Twitter felt like this would be a potential misstep for conservatives, which is very interesting. Some people in the comments, so here's a news post about it. Someone said, conservatives are making a mistake with this. Votes are very split on the issue. I'm pro-life, but I do believe a 10 to 15 week window is important in a lot of cases. It shouldn't be an all or nothing deal. That's the mistake the left makes too. Some people are making more of an electoral defense against this. Some people believe maybe we shouldn't be banning abortion. If you're pro-life, I don't think electoral politics matters to you nearly as much as saving lives do. In fact, the whole point of electoral politics is to improve the quality of life, not to fight for whatever the next election is going to be. Now, if you could do both, that's great. And I think in this stance, people that are voting for Republicans want there to be as strict bans as possible on abortion, with as few exceptions as possible, except for maybe those 2 exceptions, which a lot of people agree with, and I can say is more than likely a very popular stance, even if not everybody agrees with it on the conservative side, and some people think it's too much. It's still a very popular middle ground. And that's where the South Carolina State House has arrived. And I'm sure the governor will sign that into law if it's passed through the Senate. But some people just value votes a lot more. And I can understand why, because there's plenty of other issues to look at and to see. But I think this is definitely one of the most important ones. Now, could they overturn it in the future if they get power? Sure, but I think that's just the whole thing that happens. It's always a tipping scale in this game. And I think whenever it comes on back, as Apocalyptic is so accurately saying, that's what you have to do. That is what you have to do. Saint Verth says, rights don't require permission. Apocalyptic says, yo, sorry if I said this last time, I don't remember, but have you seen my email? I have seen it, I have replied, check your email. Dcash says, in the Bible, Romans chapter 6 changed my life. Baptism is a great gift, God is great. And Apocalyptic says, this baby genocide must stop. There, that's common sense. Quit with the abortions. Jeez, okay, Saint. I'm gonna leave that comment there. Jeez. Well, come on now. Come on, this is a family channel. This is a family channel, Saint. You're not bringing your name saint-like values, all right? Shout out to my folks over on Rumble. Alvin Fleet in the building. Nice to see you. Rono says, greetings and salutations to this chat. Respect back at ya. All that good stuff. Nice to see y'all chatting it up over on Rumble. And my folks over on Gitter as well. Happy Camper says, Gates is often overlooked. He is the worst criminal in history. Makes Biden sound like a saint. I can see that one. And that comes after Oakley said something about Gates funded factory. Jeez, that is interesting. For mosquitoes for a release. That is interesting. I have to check in on that. That is some craziness. There's always all sorts of craziness. We're talking about electoral politics and all this madness. We need to talk about what else could be coming soon. And when I say soon, I mean soon. Because the primaries have already happened in Georgia and plenty of other stuff. We're going to be talking about Georgia today. But the general elections for many offices will be happening in just a couple of months in November. Here is what the polls are looking like in Georgia for the Senate office. Herschel Walker right now is leading in the polls ahead of incumbent and intelligent Raphael Warnock. And then the Libertarian candidate and undecided are, both tied. Great to see the Libertarian candidate doing so well. That's nice. But Herschel Walker is leading with 47.5 to Raphael at 46.7. Now, I campaigned very hard against Raphael Warnock, and it just didn't go the way I wanted last year in 2021. But this time around in 2022, it looks like Warnock's going to have a really fun time to deal with. I think it's going to be great. Now, we always know that these polls usually have a very Democrat tilt. So for a Republican to be leading in these polls, that means the Democrats going to get blown out. Now, we don't know what could happen in 2 months' time. Anything could happen. Let me tell you, I think it's actually like 3 or 4 months' time. I think because it's in November. There's all of September, all of October, and so like about 2.5 months' time. Because November, it'll be like early November. So still, quite a few months out from now to November. anything could happen. But the fact that Herschel Walker is leading in the polls, despite the fact, and let me tell you, I am a Georgian, and I don't know if it's ever this bad in other states, but I cannot watch anything on YouTube, on any of these other streaming platforms that have ads on them. I can't go anywhere without seeing constant ads about Herschel Walker, and Herschel Walker is not an FBI agent and not a cop, but he said he was a cop, and he said he was an agent and all that. It's just sorts of madness that I just don't care about. I can't go anywhere without seeing them. And then I get Brian Kemp ads too, but they don't care about them nearly as much as they care about the Herschel Walker money. There's so much money in Georgia with those elections. They just don't want Herschel Walker getting that office. And it is a major holdover, because if Raphael Warnock does not hold on to that, that puts the Democrats' Senate aspirations of holding on to power in jeopardy, because that'll be one less seat they have. And unless they flip another Republican seat, they're not going to get it. It's going to be 51 Republicans versus 49 Democrats. I'm pretty sure, if everything else goes the way that it currently is right now. And there's plenty of other races that are still going to be watched as well, that we'll have to see if they hold on or if it's even a Republican gain. So they care a whole lot about this election. That's why the polls are so very important. Here's the deeper report if you guys want to check that out. Let's just go to the trafalgargroup.org and you'll see that information. But I want to dig even deeper. Because there's some deeper polls here about what Americans think of Joe Biden, the war in Afghanistan, 2024, and all of that. Now here's the 2024 Republican presidential primary. It's looking pretty solid for Trump, obviously. We know this. We've seen the CPAC polling, which is a pretty good sample for Republicans and conservatives. And for the other candidates, you can see what those numbers are with and without Trump. So if Trump is not running, 32% said they'd vote for DeSantis, 10% say they'd vote for Haley, 24% for Pence, and the numbers go on and on. But with Trump running, 10% go to DeSantis, 7% go to Nikki Haley, and 6% Pence, and on, all the way down until there's just about somebody else, which is always something crazy. But that is pretty big, pretty insurmountable support for Trump, 2/3, and that's with Trump running and everybody else running, obviously. So he has 2/3 of the Republican primary vote. I wouldn't be surprised if barely anybody runs against him, aside from maybe some people that are like, Trump is racist, yada yada, but I'm one of the good Republicans. And, you know, we saw how that went with the way of Joe Walsh and Bill Weld. But now it's time to look at the 2024 hypothetical presidential ballot, with Trump leading Biden with 47%. Leading the incumbent with 47%. And that was between August 30th and September 1st of 2021. So that's big stuff right here. That was big polling. Registered voters. Some more information I can't even make sense of, but those are good numbers. And of course, against other candidates, it just doesn't hold up as well, although it seems like without Trump, less people would vote for Biden and some people would vote for somebody else. So clearly the anti-Biden candidate, what president holds the most responsibility for the war in Afghanistan? But there's the hypothetical ballot tests, some other things for responsibility. Here is some other things and all sorts of other information that you can check out if you check into that. But as you can see, these numbers aren't looking so great for Joe Biden. His approval rating numbers, although they are back on the rise, aren't so great either, with 47% disapproving and 46% approve, and 7% without an opinion. Yes, and that was between August 30th and September 1st of 2021. So this is a long-standing poll, and it's looking like it's really going to get somewhere. It's really going to get somewhere. So I don't know. We'll have to see how things go, of course. 2024 is really far away. The ultra dark MAGA might be here to stay, though, so who knows how things could go. Alan says 2024 winner is DeSantis or Trump. Is that what you're saying? That could be very interesting. I want to see some more comics here. Apocalypse says Republicans don't learn the appealing of Democrats will never get them to win. Rhinos are such snakes and it's annoying. Chandler Crump Live, speaking of emails, did you get mine? I think I did, but if you can send it again and I'll check into it as well. That's Ultra Dark MAGA. Sky Crew says Sky Crow says Trump needs a strong VP that has issues. The last time his VP sucked. I agree. I really do. He needs something much better than what he had before. Either way, that will wrap us up for our show today. We've covered a whole lot of topics, and oh man, it's just some great. Okay, Alan says both, which is great. Either one is really great. So shout out to both of them, although I think Ron DeSantis is very happy with governor of Florida. Great state. Can't wait to go back there once again sometime soon. Either way, that does wrap us up for our show today. Thank you guys so much for being tuned in. I do have a quick announcement, though, for our people who like the gaming content on my channel. I'm proud to announce that I will now be exclusively streaming all of my gaming content over on Rumble. So if you guys like to see liked it when I gamed with the Geeks and Gamers or any of that stuff like that, I would like to invite you to subscribe to my brand new gaming channel over on Rumble, and I'll give that link to you guys right here in the chat. But if you are already on Rumble, you can check my channel page and subscribe to my brand new Chandler Crump gaming channel. We will have a lot of brand new gaming streams here on the channel. On the other side of my content, we keep political discussions to a minimum, but it's going to be great stuff that you guys will be able to find here. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this might go on the Rumble page. So if you'd like to check in on that, I know not all of my viewers are into gaming, but I feel like this is a really good way to get a brand new audience of a different sample size to promote that counterculture wave, just like I did with my music. I'm really excited to do it with gaming. So if you'd like to subscribe to our Rumble, make sure you do so right over there, and also make sure you check in and join our locals as well. You can see my page here with all of our stats, but actually if you'd like to check in and join it, it is just chandlercrump.locals.com. Make your Rumble account and make your locals account, and you can check out our page here where we post all sorts of stuff, and soon we'll be also posting gaming stuff as well. So if you're familiar with the Geeks and Gamers, all of them, you do know we stream with them every Wednesday to play Splatoon. I'll probably be joining them for some of their Mario Kart streams as well. All that good stuff you guys can find right now, all of my gaming content over on Rumble. We will also be posting video DVRs of our gaming streams, as well as my brand new Let's Plays coming soon on the Chandler Crump Gaming channel on YouTube, which you can also find here on YouTube, linked in this channel. So all of that and more is coming very soon. Expect so much more content from me. I'm really excited to be doing this. It's a whole new, brand new frontier for me. All of our normal political streams will continue as normal on all of my platforms for the foreseeable future. I'll let you know if anything changes with that. But without any further ado, thank you guys so much for being tuned in. All of my updates will be coming to you live here on YouTube. But also, if you want to not miss out on anything, make sure you follow us over on Parler and Truth Social, where there is absolutely no censorship or anything like that. My Parler page is here, just at Chandler. Same thing for Truth Social. You just do that. And you'll be able to find us. Anything that happens with me, my content, if I get banned from somewhere or if I'm streaming somewhere new, you can find all those updates and information right there over on Rumble, Truth Social, and Parler. But now, without any further ado, thank you guys so much for being tuned in. Thick Wrist, Apocalyptic Dare Dad, all that good stuff. He says I should play PUBG. I appreciate it. Incest says, I already downloaded it to Google Play on my Android. That's very good. I hope you got the right app. But if you don't, I'm sure they'll be announcing some stuff very soon. Thank you guys so much for being tuned in. And aside from all that, I'll catch you next time, free thinkers. Don't forget to spread the virus of intelligence. Peace out, and have a great evening.